everybody, it's Rebecca at Design and Adorn. Let me pop this banner off of here. We're starting now. Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Kaleidoscope live bead along. Thank you all for joining me. When you get here, if you could just give me a shout out in the comments, let me know where you're watching from. That way I know that everything is actually live and that I'm not just talking into the void. Let me pull up all of my beads and stuff. And I'm going to tell you first a little bit about the Kaleidoscope necklace. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Teresa. The Kaleidoscope necklace is a new design here. We launched the kits of this a few weeks ago. Let me actually pop this onto the other camera so that it's easier for you to see. There we go. So the Kaleidoscope features this really pretty dangly pendant that we're going to make together tonight. So it's going to be using unicorn teardrop beads. That's these guys here and the pendant, and then for my colorway tonight, they're my teardrop beads. Hi Jay from Texas. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. So I have my unicorn teardrops here, and then we also have some check glass beads. We have some 6mm and some 4mm. Hey Shelly, hello, hello. And the other important little doodads that we need to put this together, we're gonna need some ball head pins. So a head pin is just like a little piece of metal. And in this case, a ball head pin has a round head on it as opposed to a flat head. A standard head pin ends like a nail. And we like these ball head pins. Let me zoom in on this. You can see because there's the ball on the end of all of our dangles there. So we're gonna need some ball head pins. These are 1 inch long. And then we're also gonna be using some jump rings. These are 16 gauge, 5mm jump rings. And then very importantly, we have the bail. The bail is how our pendant is going to hang from the necklace. And what's really exciting about this bail, exciting to me anyway, is that this piece is one that we had custom made for us by TierraCast. Hey, there we go. My YouTube comments are starting to come through. Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Meryl. Oh, I bet it is cold in New York City. Absolutely. I won't even say that it's cold here in Tucson because I know it doesn't compare. And actually, it's going to be pretty warm this weekend, like in the 50s at night. So here's our bail, and the reason I'm so excited about this, I'm like out of frame. There we go. The reason I'm so excited about it is because we had it made for us by TierraCast to match the end caps and the clasp. For years, I have wanted a bail to go with the set, right? I love these end caps. I use them all the time. This is the Palace end cap, and then the little matching magnet. Hi Ruth, welcome, welcome, watching from South Carolina. So this bail, we worked with Kirsten at TierraCast to have this custom designed for us. And how it works when you're doing a custom piece with a company like TierraCast is, you're sort of like going back and forth, talking about the ideas, and then they decide one of two things. You go, oh, hey, that's a really good idea. We want to do that, and we're going to put it in the catalog. Or so it's like, hey, that's a good idea, but we don't want to put it in the catalog. So you can still get it made if you want, and it'll be yours exclusively. And that's the deal with this bail. So we paid to have the mold made and everything, and then we ordered them, and I'm really pleased with how that turned out. It's really beautiful on the pendant, and then of course matches our complete finding set. So let's get going on making this pendant. Oh, hey Joan from South Dakota. Welcome everybody. So whether you have a kit or you're working from your stash, you can either like actually like bead along with me, or you can just watch the video and then bead it later, whatever you think is gonna work better for you. So I'm gonna get out my head pins, and I'm gonna start with these 6mm round beads. And of course I always do the thing that I shouldn't do right before a demo, which is put lotion on my hand, so now they're gonna be slippery. But what we're gonna do here is we need to get all of these beads with a little loop on top of them. So I'm gonna start by just putting one bead on each head pin. Yeah, Phyllis is asking, can we order them? And I'm not sure if you're talking about the bail or the kit, but the answer to both is yes. These are both on our website. If you go to designandadorn.com, right on the landing page underneath like the big picture at the top, which is a picture of the kaleidoscope, you'll see some blah blah about tonight's bead along, like when is it, what's happening, and then there'll be a button that says shop here, shop now, something like that. And when you click that, it'll take you to the Kaleidoscope kit, the Kaleidoscope PDF, and all the supplies. So also the bail is on that page, jump rings. We kind of had a run on the jump rings, so we don't have a ton in stock, but we are placing an order, so hopefully we'll have more jump rings next week. So yeah, you can order them, either the bail or a full kit. So I've put all of my 6mm beads onto the head pins, and now I'm working with my bail making plier. I'm going to be using the smaller side, and this is the 1.5 /2mm bail making plier. So this side is 1.5 and this is 2mm. We're going to be working on the smaller side. We're going to, let me stay in frame here. I'm going to grab the very end of my pin. I don't want any wire sticking out here. And I'm holding the plier in my right hand, and I'm going to apply pressure to the wire with my left thumb as I wrap around that smaller mandrel. Then I just like reposition as needed. And pro tip, do not apply lotion to your hands immediately before doing this. Sorry, let me wipe my hand off a second. All right, come on, lotion hands. There you go. There you go. Now I finally got some grip on there. So you're going to just coil it down, turn it sideways, until the wire meets the bead. I'm going to do this for all of them. And these actually go pretty quickly once you get on a roll with them. This is something you can easily do while, you know, sitting in front of the TV or listening to a podcast. It's pretty chill, just coiling your beads. This is actually a pretty fun technique. We use it in lots of different projects. Basically, it's an alternative to making a wire wrapped loop, which is much more time consuming. And there are times when you definitely want to have the wire wrap loop because you're really gonna see it and it'll be a super obvious part of what's happening. But here, since we just have this little like jumble of things happening in our pendant, there's no need to do that. It's just all part of the jumble here with this coil. So I recognize, I think, most of the names on here, so I know that you've done kumihimo before. Is there anyone here who has never done kumihimo before? Anyone where this is going to be your first time? All right, how about anybody, is this going to be your first time doing the wire coiling? There we go, there's all of my 6mm. I'm going to do the same thing with the 4mm. So I'm just putting one bead on each head pin. We don't actually have to make that many of these for this project. We have some necklaces where you have to, you know, wrap up like close to 200 beads, but this one, it's just a few. It doesn't take that long. Jay says it's probably been like 6 years and first time to do the wire. Well, awesome. You're going to get to learn something new. Love that. Joan says close to the first time. Excellent. Excellent. This is a really fun project, and it's good for people of all levels. You know, if you have experience doing this, you can really just like sit back and chill while you're doing it. And if you're new, it's a good project for learning on because it's not too complicated. And best of all, either way, whether it's your first project or your 100th project, when you're done with this, you're gonna have this really beautiful necklace to wear. Hey Joan, this is gonna be her first beaded kumihimo, so that's awesome. Welcome to the world of beaded kumihimo. I think you're gonna love it. So I'm doing more of this wire coiling. It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter what size the bead is. And just grab the end of the wire and I'm rotating and I'm applying pressure over here with my opposite hand. The hardest part is just like that initial like squeeze to get it going, and then it keeps going the rest of the way around. Now I'm trying to get the wraps right next to each other, but if there's a little space between them, don't worry about it. It's totally fine. It's not going to be an issue. I really like the colors I'm working with. This is a new colorway that I picked out today. I did put some of these, this new colorway on the website today. I think we called it Effervescent, maybe. I think it's gonna be really pretty. You'll get to see it as it comes together. It's got these nice, like fuchsia, raspberry pinks. I'm gonna have a little bit of this Papa turquoise in the pendant. There's some turquoise in the teardrop. Get you guys in frame there. And then for the braid, it's gonna have this really pretty lustered raspberry at the front, and then it transitions into a metallic navy blue. One reason I really like this project for learning is because you really get to try a lot of different skills, right? So we're doing the wire wrapping right now, And then we're gonna do a little bit of like super basic chainmail, which is fun. And then of course, we're gonna do some beautiful beaded kumihimo. Now we do have the full detailed written instructions available on our website as a PDF. If you don't have those, you can grab those there. That's where you'll find the stringing chart for the kumihimo. We also do have some kits available. All right, so I've made all my little wrapped beads. So 4 millimeters and 6 millimeters. I'm gonna get my extra head pins out of the way. Now, what are we gonna do? We're going to make a little chain to get started. We need 5 jump rings. Oops, other way, unzoom, there we go. So I got my jump rings here. Now, when your jump rings come out of a package, sometimes they're tangled, they're linked like this. This isn't really joined, we can't leave them like this. We need to open them and close them properly. When you're opening and closing jump rings, you're gonna need 2 pairs of pliers, 1 for each hand. I mostly use bent chain nose pliers. Chain nose pliers come to a point, and the bent ones, that point goes whee off to the side. I like them because I hold them this way and then the points are out of the way and it's easier for me to see. My spouse, Richard, who, if you don't know Richard, they are obsessed with chainmail. They prefer flat nose pliers. So it's really a matter of personal preference, whatever you're into, but you can't use round nose pliers. Round nose pliers are gonna leave a divot in your jump ring, so no round nose pliers. And then you'll also notice that I've dipped my pliers in this white rubber. They didn't come like that. It's actually a removable coating. I could peel it off. I won't because it's fresh and I want it there, but it's called Tool Magic, and it's a rubber coating that helps protect your jump rings from scratching. They sell it at all of the big box stores, and yeah, we dip all of our chainmail pliers to protect our rings from scratching. So to open a jump ring, I am going to zoom in on this and I will try very, very hard to stay in frame. So you see the cut on there right here? I'm going to grab one side of the ring really close to, but not covering that cut. And then with my other pair of pliers, I'm gonna grab the other side here and I'm going to open it by holding the left side still and pushing the right side away. You can reverse that, right? You can hold the right side still and push the left. That's personal preference. So I've got one open. I'm going to attach this to my bail. So I have my bail on my jump ring and now I'm still holding one side of the ring, and we're gonna go back, grab the other side, and this time I'm going to pull it closed so they meet. Try to hold that where the camera will get it. And this is pretty good, but if I want to get it even closer, I can kind of like wiggle, 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 wiggle. So that's how you open and close a jump ring. Before we go any further though, I want to show you how not to open and close a jump ring. So I'll just take one of these. So you don't want to pull it out to the side like that. This deforms the ring and it's never gonna close again, all right? It's gonna be all weird. Stay in frame, Rebecca. It's never gonna close right, and you don't want to ever like reach inside the ring to pull again. This deforms the ring, so we don't want to do that. I'm gonna throw this ring away because it's bad now. So there's one jump ring on my bail. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna open a ring, open it, and attach it to the ring that's already there. And then close it up. Wiggle, wiggle. So that's 2 rings. And I have these that came out of the bag linked. So I'm gonna open it up. And just set aside that one for later. Put this on the bottom of my chain that's growing here. Close that up. This is ring number 4. Open the ring. Whoa, that's just precariously dangling. Get on there. Close this up. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more ring. Open my jump ring. Add my chain and close it up. All right, this is the foundation of our pendant. So here's our bail. There's the ring that's coming off of the bail, right, that's built in. And then I have a chain that I've made of 5 jump rings. All right, now I'm going to make some embellished rings. So an embellished ring is going to get one of each type of bead that I have. So I'm going to, oh, this is a great question. Joan says, why can't you use the ones that are already linked? Will they come apart easily? Yes, that's exactly it. So these guys here, they're not really closed. They can come apart because they're not really closed. They can actually work out through that. It doesn't look like it, right? It's just like a little tiny crack, but if the 2 cracks in the ring line up, they can open. Also, they're scratchy. They're scratchy because that open edge could rub against your skin. So that's why you don't want to use those. They look like they're linked, but they're not really. Oh, this is a good angle. You can really see how that one's, it's actually open and it can pull apart. Great question, thank you. So I've opened 1 jump ring and now I'm gonna put on a teardrop. Now, here's what you need to know about making the embellished rings. These teardrops are pretty big. So notice that I have been holding like half of my jump ring. I might need to like hold a little bit less of it just to give myself more room. So there's my jump ring. Here's a 6mm. And then here's a 4mm, and I'm gonna try to stay in frame and not drop anything. So I have 3 beads on there, 1 of each size, and I'm going to close it up. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Set this down so you can see it. There we go. It doesn't matter what order you put these beads on here, right? Because they can flip around. So just 1 of each, any order, don't worry about it. We're gonna make 12 of these. So like this is a set of rings where they came linked. I'm gonna open up one of them and I'm just gonna set the other one aside. I'll use it in a minute. And you do wanna open these pretty wide because of the teardrop. So feel free, so long as you're doing like the door opening technique where you hold one side and push the other side, feel free to really, really open it up. Yeah, I just zoomed out a little bit to increase my odds that I'll stay in frame. There we go. And see how I'm kind of tilting my wrist back? I just want to hold this so that gravity keeps my beads in place. If I hold it like this, whoop, I just dropped one. So tip the opened end of your ring so it's pointing up. And I can grab it like this, or bent nose pliers, I can flip this around if this feels like this is going to be a better way to grab it. Or if you got flat nose, if that feels like a better way to grab it, whatever is comfortable for you. People are different, bodies are different, so you have to work in a way that feels comfortable for your wrist and your hand. So try different positions. If one thing is giving you like an ouch feeling, well, don't keep doing that. Try a different hand or arm position. Also, please feel free to take breaks, especially if you are new to working with jump rings. It's super fun, and I know that you want to just like go, but you don't want to hurt yourself. You can get like a hand cramp or whatever if you're overly exerting a muscle that you don't normally use. So just, have fun with it. Listen to your body. Take a break if you need to. But yeah, I don't worry at all about like which way my little dangles are facing. Like if you look at these, the wires like facing one way or the other. I don't lose any sleep worrying about that when I pick them up. I tend to pick them up in the same order: teardrop, 6mm, 4mm. That's mostly just so that I remember to get one of each size and I don't confuse myself. And then also I like to put the teardrop on first because it's the biggest. I find that I'm less likely to drop it if I put it on first instead of putting it on last. Let me just do a couple more of these and then I'll just show you the assembly. I'm just stacking these up. All right, that's enough to get started. Now, we're going to start making our pendant. So, I don't know why I keep putting my jump rings away. So basically what's gonna happen here is on each of these rings that we've made in the chain, we're going to use a new jump ring to attach one embellished ring on each side. All right, so it's gonna be one over here, 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 all the way up. And then also at the very, very top, this smaller ring that's actually part of the bail, we're gonna put embellished rings there as well. One on either side. It doesn't actually matter which end of this chain you start from. You can start at the top or you can start at the bottom, whatever seems easier for you. So I'm gonna open up a new jump ring, pick up an embellished ring on there, and then I'm going to go through one ring in my chain, and then close it up. So you see here's my chain, this is my embellished string, and that's the jump ring that joins them. Now I'm going to do it again on the other side. So when you go to do the second ring, we need to put it on the opposite side. We don't want two over here. So what's the dividing line? The next ring. So put one embellishment on this side and one embellishment on this side. So I open up a new jump ring, pick up an embellished ring, and then pick up my chain from the other side, close it up. So that's what that looks like. Let's do it again. Down a layer. So open a jump ring, pick up an embellished string. Now sort through here. I'm gonna hold it upside down because that's gonna be easier for me to see. Oops, dropped my ring. So I'm gonna hold this upside down so I could see the next ring. This one is already embellished, so now I'm up here. Join that and close it up. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So pick up an embellishment, flip this over. So see, here's what I just did. Now I'm going to do the other side of that chain link. Sorry, I keep moving out of frame. I'm really nearsighted and I like to bring the stuff closer to my face. And sometimes I do that subconsciously without remembering that I have an audience on camera that would like to see what I'm doing. So here's my new ring, pick up an embellishment ring, flip this over so I can see everything. I've already done this link in the chain, so now I'm up here. So this goes together really, really easily. It's just a matter of making all of your components. Now I didn't finish making all of my embellishment rings, so I'll cut this a little short. All right, so I'm holding it upside down so I can see it. Here's the one I did. Now I need to do the opposite side of that link. All right, you get the idea. You just keep going. Let's do the very top of this. I'm gonna do the this bail loop up here. So I open up a jump ring, pick up an embellishment ring, and I'm just gonna link this. Oops, I dropped my embellishment ring. Pop that right on there. So now I'm going directly onto that bail. Close it up. And now there's room for one more on the other side. This is what makes the pendant look really fluffy all the way to the top, is by embellishing that top ring. So now do the other side. It is kind of a tight fit. It will go though. Wiggle, wiggle. This one I have to bring closer to my face. Get in there. There it goes. I got it. Just needed to shove it. Close it up. So that's that. You just keep going until you're done. Here's my center chain. So I have two more. Yeah, two more. This one's embellished, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more little embellishment rings on there. And I like the length of this, but you could make a longer pendant if you wanted to make a longer pendant. And you could go shorter if you wanted to go shorter. Like if you wanted matching earrings, you could do a shorter section, and rather than having a bail at the top, you could have an ear wire. My only advice to you if you're making earrings, think about the weight. Make it a lot shorter. Three rings max, otherwise I think that's gonna be pretty heavy. All right, let's take a look at kumihimo. So I know that you guys don't want to watch me string beads, so I already strung up my beads, but I do want to talk a little bit about how to read a stringing chart and how to place your warps in case you are new to this. So when you're looking at your kit instructions or the PDF, you're going to see this diagram. This circle represents your kumihimo disc. These numbers, these are not the numbers that are printed on the disc. All right, the disc has numbers 1 through 32 on there. And these are the numbers 1 through 8, but they're not in order 1 through 8 around the circle. This is the order in which the warps move. So this is your first move, warp number 1, and then warp number 2 is your next move. And then when we rotate the disc, next is warp 3, and then warp 4, rotate the disc, warp 5, and then 6. These will have shifted. And then 7, 8. That's why they're numbered like this. This is how you need to arrange your bobbins around the disc when you start in order for your pattern to come out correctly. Because the kaleidoscope is a counted kumihimo pattern. A counted kumihimo pattern is when you don't have a solid color on each warp. We have color changing happening. So in this sample, it starts out with this light blue, and then we have a section where there's silver and this teal capri blue, and then it's all teal capri blue in the center, and then we have another section where it's a mixture of the teal capri and the silver and the light blue, and then it's light blue again. So you don't have to do anything special while you're braiding to get this ombre. It's all about how you string the beads. So in the instructions for the kaleidoscope, there are 3 different stringing charts. There's a 19-inch, a 21-inch, and a 23-inch. That's the finished length of the necklace. And once you've decided on the necklace length you want to make, you're going to follow along on the stringing chart. So when you're reading a pattern, I'll glue this up for you here. So you're going to read across. So warp number 1, the numbers here will be different potentially depending on the size necklace you're making. But for example here it says 30A, 50B, 30A. So if you have the kit, your beads are labeled color A, color B. And you're just going to pick up 30 of them. So in my case, that's this metallic navy blue color. So I'm going to pick up 30 of those, 50 color B, which is my raspberry, and then 30 color A. So when you're reading one of these stringing charts, it'll be number, type of bead, number, type of bead, number, type of bead, and you just straight across, that's what you do. Sometimes it'll just say warp and then just one warp. In this case, it's warp number 1, but it's the only warp here. There's only one listed, but sometimes it could say warps 3 through 4. So 3 and 4, and then 3 and 4 get the same thing. 5 and 6 get the same thing. 7 and 8 get the same thing in this case. So that's how you read the stringing chart and pick up your beads. This guy got a little tangled here while I was flipping it around on my board. You're going to make sure that when you start, that your warps are arranged in this order around the disc, right? So warp number 1 is up here, and then next to it is warp number 6, right? And then caddy corner from warp number 1 is warp number 2. So make sure they're in this exact order. If you're buying kumihimo patterns from a designer and it's a counted pattern, there should be a starting diagram like that that indicates how you need to orient the warps before you start. Not everyone does it like this. Some people just have them going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do it this way, like I said, because this is the order in which they actually move, so that's easier for me to think when I'm designing. Anyway, make sure that you confirm with that diagram before you arrange your warps, otherwise it won't turn out the way you want it to. So I have my beads strung on here. These are weighted bobbins, and you'll notice that I have them numbered. This is number 5, this is number 2, right? Just like in the diagram. And then at the bottom, way down here, there's a slip knot so that my bobbin can't fall off. So say that I just strung these beads, right? Here are my beads, they're strung. Then I take the end of my cord and I put a slip knot. I put the slip knot around the bobbin, and then I wind it up. All this excess thread gets wound first. So I'm winding up all my thread, and now I want to leave about an inch of empty thread between the beads and the disc. So I'm going to just pinch my cord here and then start winding those beads, and they can go inside the bobbin. Just pop it closed. So I've done that on all 8 there. And then I have my center weight. Oops. This is a 45-gram center weight. I just have this clipped below my knot. Now I'm gonna start braiding. So the moves are, oh, let me back up a second. I'm in the middle of a braid so that you guys could see more of it. But when you start a beaded kumihimo, you're gonna braid about a 1/2 inch with no beads. This is just to get the braid started. Later we'll be binding and cutting here and then putting the end cap right over the beads, but you always have a little section, a little nubbin at the beginning with no beads. So don't forget that part. It's in the instructions. Let's get my weight back on here. So here are our kumihimo moves. It's top right down. And as I do my move, I'm gonna slide a bead into the point of braiding, catch that there, and then bottom left up, slide a bead, catch it under this very first cord that it comes through. Oh, that silver really pops. That's a good color there. Let me zoom in on that. You can really see how that silver bead is just caught right underneath that first perpendicular cord. That's the cross warp. And then I'm going to rotate. I turn it to the left. It doesn't matter which way you rotate it. It won't change the pattern at all. Try to be consistent with which direction you turn it. But that's really just so that you're training your brain to know which direction you're turning it. If you turn it sometimes to the left and sometimes to the right, it won't mess up your braid. Oh, wow. Katie says 10 years ago today, I took the Kumihimo 101 class. That is awesome. Happy anniversary. Happy Kumihimo anniversary. That is awesome. So another thing I want to mention is right here, I have 3 down. This is an excellent stopping point. If you need to pause for whatever reason, if you need to you know, answer a question or talk to a comment on a live video you're doing, if your phone rings, if you need to get a drink, if for whatever reason you need to take a break, do your top right down move, stop here with 3, and you can set this down, just set it down and walk away from it. And when you come back, just orient your disc so that the 3 chords are facing you, and then you know where you left off. So from here, I know that bottom left is my next move. So bottom left up, slide 1 bead in, tuck it, and bring it across. Now I do want to point out that my braid and my weight are setting here on the table. That is just because I have to fit in frame in my little video booth here. Generally speaking, that is a no-no. You want your weight to be hanging freely. Let me switch here. So you want this to hang freely. So normally I would braid, scoot way back so you can see. Normally I would braid with this, you know, my elbows, you know, are bent, and I'm holding this just above my lap. Top right down, tuck the bead in. So you have the braid's just hanging there. Oh, this is another good opportunity. I'll show you this again closer, but here you can see like the big form. I've run out of room underneath the disc. If I were to do this move and pull it across, I'd have to pull really hard because there's not enough string left. So I need to drop this. So I'm going to open my bobbin, unwind it. See, they fall down a little bit. I'm gonna hold this. I'm just pinching my cord, wind it back up. So now I can do my bottom left up move, like so. Another thing, while I'm super zoomed away from the camera, what do you do when this gets too long and it's gonna start hitting your lap? You're gonna just take your weight off temporarily, put that in my lap, and I can tie a knot in my braid. This isn't super long yet, but it is long enough for a knot. So I've just tied a knot. And now this is shorter and it won't rest on my lap. And I can keep braiding. Top right down, bottom left up. Let me scoot close again so you can actually see things. There we go. So this is what that looks like when I've tied a little knot in my braid. Top right down, bottom left up. I'm just gonna keep going around and around and around and around until I am out of beads. Now, because this is a counted pattern, you should run out of beads in order, right? Like 1 and 2 are partners, so they'll run out and then you'll turn the disc. 3 and 4 will run out, turn the disc. 5 and 6 will run out, turn the disc. 7 and 8 will run out. They'll all run out at the same time since you counted them, and you have the same exact number of beads on every warp. When you are done braiding with beads, you'll need to braid another 1/2 inch, no beads, just like the beginning. I don't have any beads available here, so I'm just going to open the bobbin, let some out, close again. Don't try to drag the beads under the lip of your bobbin. It kind of stretches out the bobbin and then it doesn't hold as well. So you will preserve the longevity of your tools by opening your bobbins when you need to access the beads. Bottom left up. So when you are out of beads, you're gonna braid that 1/2 inch, no beads, and then you can take the braid off the disc. So to do that, you will remove all of your bobbins, and then you'll pinch it underneath at the point of braiding. This will be a skinny little braid like this. So you pinch it, take everything off the disc, and tie an overhand knot so it'll look just like the beginning. And then before you put your end caps on, you have to bind this off, and I will demonstrate here how to do the binding. I tried to pick a color that I thought would maybe show up. Let's see. Let me get a different background color. Ooh, there we go. All right. So we got yellow background. I have this bright blue thread. I'm gonna pull about a 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet of thread. Ooh, and I threw my spool of thread, so I hope I don't need any more of that. So here's my thread. It's really curly when it comes off of the bobbin, so I'm gonna stretch this, pull all the kinks out. Now, keep in mind, normally my braid would not still be attached to the disc. I would braid the whole thing and get it off, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna fold my cord, fold my thread in half, and with this loop pointing towards the beaded section, I'm gonna place it on top of the braid. And there's a short thread and a long thread. The short thread is just going to sit there and hang out. I want the long thread. All right, being all twisty on me. There we go. I want the long thread, and I'm gonna wrap the long thread around this nubbin next to the beads. They're next to the beads, but I'm not going over any of the beads. I'm just going around the nubbin and around the tail thread that's sitting on top of the nubbin. I'm gonna put these wraps right next to each other, and let's call them snug, but you're not pulling as hard as you possibly can. You could snap this thread if you really pulled on it. It could snap. So I'm just gonna go around, say like 4 or 5 times. Don't go forever. We don't want this really long. Say about like 1/8 of an inch. And now I need to take the long thread, that's my working thread, and it needs to go through the loop that's under my thumb right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my other hand and pinch those wraps so that I can sort of reposition. Pinch, pinch, I just sort of transferred. You can't let go of these wraps because if you do, they will come unwrapped. So I'm gonna take my working thread and go through the loop. My tail's wanting to get caught in that, so get those out of there. Go through the loop. All right, I'm through. Now I'm gonna pull the tail thread in the opposite direction. Pulling, pulling, pulling. See how the loop's closing? Pull, pull, pull. Make sure that your loop doesn't close around a bead, so go slow. Pull, pull, pull. It's all the way. So now I can lift up my thumb and reveal. Ta-da! There's my binding. Now I'm gonna do a little extra square knot or granny's knot on top of there. So, you know, right over left, left over right is a square knot. Right over left is a granny knot. One of those, doesn't matter, just get a little knot on here. Pull, pull, pull. And then I'm going to trim these tails. Boop, really close. We don't need any extra there. So that's how you do the binding. And you will, of course, do this for both ends of the project, and it's fully off of the disc. And then once that's ready, you can glue on your end caps. You can either glue on your end caps, wait 24 hours, and then attach your clasp, or you can attach your clasp before. That's what I'm gonna do here. This is the same jump ring technique we were using earlier. So you hold one side, push the other, and there's my magnet clasp on there, and then one end cap. close that up. If you guys have any questions, now would be a good time to type those because I am nearing the end of what's happening here. So I'm gonna do a second jump ring. This is just like a thing I like to do. It's totally optional, but I put 2 jump rings to attach my magnet to my end cap. Reason number 1, I think it looks nice. Reason number 2, if one of them opened up, I have a second jump ring right there. So I just put my second jump ring through. See, my magnet clasp is trying to stick to my plier. That's the thing it does. Close it up. See, I think it looks nice with the 2. And I'm gonna do it on the other side. Just detaching the other half of it, it won't be so heavy. Trying to weigh me down. I'm closing my jump ring. There's my magnet. Here's my end cap. Those jump rings are parallel to each other. They don't crisscross. They're right next to each other. Like so. All right, so then the finishing step, of course, when your braid is all the way off your disc, is you're gonna cut right here, really, really close to the binding. Whenever you bind your braid and cut, there's a keep side and there's a throwaway side. You wanna make sure you're cutting on the throwaway side. What does that mean? It means you need to cut over here, because this is what you're gonna throw away, this stuff. If you cut over here on this side next to the beads, you just cut the binding off and the end of your braid is gonna bust open. So just pay attention to where you're cutting. When you have beads on here, it's really obvious where you should cut. If you're doing one that's just cord, sometimes it's more likely that you might make an oopsie, but we're gonna cut right over here. And then this end cap is gonna fit right over the beads. We're gonna use E6000 glue. E6000 is my favorite glue for kumihimo. It's the only glue, really, that I use for kumihimo. What I love about it, the bond is incredibly secure once it's dried. It takes 24 hours to fully cure, but once it's set, it's really set. I have braids that are kicking around, I don't know, like 10, 12 years old. They're fine. The glue has held up beautifully. And then the other thing I really like about it, it does not bond to skin. It's not like super glue, so if you get some on you, you can just like rub your fingers together and it'll peel off like rubber cement. So that's that. That's how we do the Kaleidoscope necklace. I hope that you had fun with this. Would love it if you want to post pictures when you get your necklace finished. That would be super fun. If you need a kit, we still have a few of them at designadorn.com, and we also have the PDF available with the full necklace instructions. Phyllis is also a fan of the E6000. Love it. It's an excellent, excellent glue. So before we hit the road, I do want to just give you like a little teaser about what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow we are doing the butterfly stitch kits. Oh, I don't know why I'm holding it up like this. I'll put it on the board so you can actually see it. The butterfly stitch is a stitching project, as the name implies. It's another very beginner-friendly project. I do have a video on YouTube about how to do butterfly stitch. So we're gonna have kits of this in lots of different colors, including some Christmas colorways. So check that out. Those will be on our website, designadorn.com, starting at 5 o'clock